You don't mind having that one back?
It'll be hilarious. I guess like I was saying before, live from the jungle. You're coming in. We haven't done that in a while on the show. I used to call it the NASCAR rolling start. You know, the start of a NASCAR race, it'd just be a rolling start. You'd just be rolling. You're coming in mid conversation because whenever I had Sam and Pete, it was always a rolling start. It's like people coming live from, you know.
Are you on now?
Oh, we're on now. Oh. We're recording right now. I already hit the button, and then that's when Ty hit the thing, and you were asking me, is it fine? I'm like, it's fine. We're gonna just do a rolling start. He hit the ignition on his thing, so it all fits in together. There's synergy there.
Sorry.
Rolling start, ignition in the background. You're eating dinner. I'm eating dinner. Hey, Bradney, what's up? Live from the jungle. It's Tiger's jungle. We're always here in Tiger's jungle. It's his world. We just live in it. It's time for Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast, the Monday edition, the December 28th edition, the episode after Christmas. What is going on? Happy holidays. If you practice, if you're a Christmas person, if you're a Hanukkah person, if you're a Kwanzaa person, there's a bunch of other holidays. Christmas, Festivus. Everything in between. I read something that like Christians, they moved Christ's birthday to December 25th to mess with all the other holidays. I saw something like that on. I forgot that was on Twitter or on Instagram. I was very amused by that. And I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't put it past ye old Christians that they moved. Christmas, the birth of Christ to December 25th to mess with other religions because Kwanzaa's going on and Hanukkah. It's like, oh, we're gonna mess with them. We're gonna put Christmas right there. The Christ's birthday is the most important.
That's so weird.
But it's just like, oh, thanks to Coca-Cola, it's all about Santa Claus. Hey, you okay there?
Yeah.
Cowboy. Yeah, our Christmas was great. It was Tiger's first Christmas, so it's obviously it was a big deal to Rosa and I. It's his first Christmas. Is he gonna remember it? That's not important. It's how we remember it. Because I kept giving myself that excuse. I'm like, he's not gonna remember. He's not gonna remember.
1,000 photos.
But it's not a matter of him remembering. It's you and I, wife. Rosa is here. She's not on camera. She's on the other side of the camera. She's functioning as today's producer of the show. While she's the producer of our child. Haha. Heyo. So I'd like to think. I think we had a pretty great Christmas. We had the tree. The tree, which you guys, if you were noticing the last few weeks, it was behind us. We got rid of that day after.
The morning after.
The morning after was like, okay,
literally just rip it off.
We gotta rip it off. I wanted to make sure it got into the.
We couldn't have any more of those little pine needles anywhere.
No, those pine needles were driving us nuts. They were like they're
Tiger just pulling out all the ornaments.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I think my favorite part of Christmas morning was Ty almost bringing down the tree twice on our heads. That was pretty great. It was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Ty's first Christmas, and Santa brought him a lot of stuff. Yeah. He got a lot of stuff from various.
Oh my gosh, so much stuff.
It was awesome. We got him stuff. Our immediate family got him stuff. It was pretty awesome. We were all wearing matching PJs and being adorable. As you do on.
As we gotta do.
As we do on Christmas, we were starting traditions. It's like we're a little family, so we.
You made the tamales.
Yes. Don't let my mom or my brother see this video. But last week I made tamales.
As is tradition in the.
As this is tradition, because normally, Mexican Christmas is usually Christmas Eve, and you have tamales that night, and you open your presents that night. But we're observing Christmas like normal Christmas people.
Yeah.
This is a normal non-denominational Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But we were gonna meet up with Rosa's family, and we needed tamales, and so they asked us to get tamales on December 23rd, which let me let y'all in a little secret. Spoiler alert: that's not when you order tamales. Mm-hmm. You have to order them like at least 5 days in advance of Christmas. At least, bare minimum, because the places.
Each bakery must have laughed at me. Like,
Yeah, as you were calling them.
Yeah.
Because your brother was like, hey, who's bringing the tamales? And it's like, who's bringing the tamales? You're asking this on the freaking 22nd? Oh, it was the 22nd when they were like, who's gonna bring the tamales? It was literally the day after Rosa called a bunch of, because I didn't know about this until I got home, or until I saw it on Rosa's Instagram story. Like, oh, contemplating having to make tamales for the first time ever. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm sorry. Well, I showed it to my boss. My boss is like, ha ha ha, you're gonna make tamales.
He said, you're gonna make tamales?
He said, you're gonna make tamales. I'm like, yeah, I was gonna end up having to make tamales. My boss knew before I did. I just showed him the photo. Like, check this out. Look at this. My wife said she wants to make. I'm like, I don't know why. Why does my wife want to make tamales? I'm like, I got a dozen coming from my mom. Why do we need to make tamales? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I had no idea the context, and I get home and it's like, oh, we're getting together with the family on Christmas Day, and we need to bring tamales. I was like, because we weren't gonna take my mom's tamales because it wasn't gonna be enough. Because my mom gave me enough for us, our little family here. Like, she gave me a nice dozen because that'd be just enough for me and maybe a couple for you. 10 for me, 2 for you. And it's like, oh, we can't take. I mean, I like selfishly, I'm like, I'm not taking those. Those are mine. I'm gonna eat all those tamales. Those are my mom's tamales. Those are handmade, tradition. Sandoval friggin' tamales. And it's like, oh, we're gonna have to make our own. And so so December 23rd. I was at the friggin' Northgate Market nearby here.
Everybody else.
And so apparently, so were a bunch of other bad Mexicans who didn't order their tamales and were having to make their own.
Late for the party.
I think I had to wait an hour for the friggin' for the meat department. I walked over. I'm like, all right, let me grab a number.
You got a number.
I'm like, all right, number 64. I remember because I'm a Nintendo idiot. Nintendo 64. Like number 64, and they call. Number 24, I'm like, all right, I'm fucked. All right, let's walk around and look for all the other components, because you got me you watched, so after you called a bunch of bakeries, and then after they laughed at you and told you, ha ha ha, the cutoff date was like 2 days before. It was Monday, right? Yeah. Like 2 days before was when you need to be here, dummy. And it's like, all right, whoops. We just got this sprung on us at the last freaking second. Yeah. So, all right.
I think I looked through maybe like 10 different YouTube videos.
Yeah, so the wife got on YouTube because, we live in a modern society. We can, I wasn't going to sheepishly go to my mom like, hey, Mom, all right, because my mom she tried to teach me once. She tried to teach me one time how to make tamales, and because I was like, all right, let me write this down. Like, no, you don't write this down. You do by watching. I'm like, no, I'm like, if I'm just going to watch, I need to write this down, because if I'm going to attempt this on my own, I'm going to need notes. Yeah. So no, just watch me and memorize. I'm like, that's not how this works, Mom. I'm not a memorizer. I'm a doer, and if I do it enough times, then muscle memory. My muscle memory is better than my brain memory.
Right.
And it was like, no, I'm not going to call her. I'm like, nope.
No.
If I even entertain the thought of telling her, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make tamales, I will get cut off from tamales from my mom for the rest of my life.
Right, yeah.
Because she's like, mine are not good enough. You will never get them again. And I'm like, no, I want Mom's tamales. I want all the grease. I want all the lard. I want all the terrible things that clog my arteries and will send me into early heart disease. That will add on 10 more pounds to this wonderful dad bod of mine.
So I was looking at the video.
So
with everything in mind, like, all right, are we make chicken tamales or pork tamales or beef tamales or?
Because traditionally it's pork.
And ultimately the decision was, let's make the easiest fucking tamales.
Yeah, because
I don't care where they're from or what they're like. They have to be the easiest.
We need to make easy tamales, and we have our ninja foodie. We have the pressure cooker, everything, whatever. Like the 10 in 1 crazy.
Yeah.
You doing anything, wild boy? Okay. So she finds a YouTube video where they use the ninja that we have. And that they make, but it was like Panamanian tamales. But I was like, all right, whatever. We'll make adjustments as need be. So, I go off with the grocery list. I'm at Northgate.
You can't find half the fucking ingredients.
Half the things, I'm like, this is some like stuff I need.
Around there,
yeah, but like banana leaves, I'm like, I'm just gonna get from some corn husks, whatever.
Culantro, I never heard
culantro?
of culantro. I know what cilantro is.
I know what cilantro is. Culantro is that come from the butt of the cilantro.
Exactly.
Culo.
Culantro.
Culo, for those of you who don't know, culo is butthole in
So
Spanish.
you know that like everybody, well, people cook with all these ingredients, and what if I know?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what
I'm a
cilantro or
culant. I don't know. I thought, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the freaking the Northgate super duper uber Mexican market. They should have everything there. No, I got all the basics. I got the freaking. I bought the bag of masa maseca. Although I think maybe the Panamanian they use cornmeal. I think that's slightly different.
They use pre-cooked cornmeal.
Pre-cooked cornmeal, but
Yeah.
that's corn
It's
meal
corn,
masa.
It's corn tortillas.
Makes corn
Right?
tortillas.
Makes corn
I mean,
tortillas.
well, masa is
It's
turned into
masa,
everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I got the masa, I got the corn husks, I got whatever, some of the other stuff, the anchiote. I got, and then eventually I heard that they start getting to the 50s, so I got close to the meat market and I stood there, I'm like waiting, I'm like, all right, give me that call, 64, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
I get in there, I'm like, I just remember like, so when my mom tried to show me that one time, I literally only got like 3 steps or 4 steps in before she got fed up with me trying to write things down.
Right.
And like, no, that's not how you're going to learn.
Right.
But I remember I was like, you got to get pork butt.
Pork butt.
Pork butt. But apparently, Northgate is very woke.
Oh, here you go.
So
Go
it's not called pork butt. It's called pork cushion. Which I thought was cute and adorable.
Cute.
Pork cushion. Cause I straight up asked him, I need like 3-4 pounds of pork butt. He's like, do you mean cushion? I'm like, yeah, whatever. The stuff you need for tamales, the stuff that everyone else here is getting that you have a metric ton of in the back that you're just carving away to give to us. Right. And they give me these balls. So like, oh my, and so when I told him 3 pounds, he gave me 3 of these mounds, and it's like freaking 12 pounds of pork, and it's like I saw the total on it was like 45. Like I don't need that much pork, bro. I'm just making tamales for like 4 or 5 people. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. Like I only need like 3 pounds. Like, are you? I'm like, so give me 2 of the mounds, whatever. I'm like, fine. Get that down to like, get that $35 down to like freaking 15 or 20, however much I paid for the pork.
And you only needed like what, 2 or 3 pounds?
Yeah, according to the recipe. Yeah, I didn't need 12 pounds. I told the guy, I'm like, because I just heard me say 3, and he's like 3 mounds, 3 mounds. I think he was just fucking with me. Honestly, I think they were just trying to push all the pork cushion out the door. It was the biggest pork cushion day of the year, considering I had to wait an hour to freaking get served. And it just, so I got the pork, I got the sauce, I got the anchiote. I'm like, all right, cool. I have all the basic components we need. I'm like, all right, let me get the hell out of here and get home. And so it was, and then it was Christmas Eve. I go work my half day at work, and then I come home. Like, all right, let's do this. Watch that YouTube video of the ninja lady. Isn't that like her YouTube handle, Ninja Lady? And it was like Salty Tears or Salty Tales. Was her husband? Salty Tales was her husband. So he comes in, does the intro, and he leaves.
And he's like the camera work behind the scenes, I'm sure, you know. And then the eating of the food. But I think it's his channel.
And then his wife.
She just guests.
She guesses like because it looks like she has her own channel where she does a whole bunch of ninja stuff.
He does a lot of meat stuff, and it looks really delicious the way he makes everything. I mean, Jesus, I'm like, what? I want to make stuff the way they're making it.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, well, okay. We're not a family of like piles of fucking meat.
Yeah.
Like people make. I'm like,
exactly. We don't need piles and piles. I mean, I can eat my fair share. I can eat my fair share of meat, but I'm getting older. It's getting harder to do. It's like all the warnings I got as a young man. Like, oh, you won't be able to do that when you're older. I'm like, I don't care. I go to barbecue and it's like, yes, give me 3 different types of meat. Yes, give me pork at the same time as chicken. And you find out as you get older, like, oh, it's harder for your body to digest that stuff. That's why I can't do my Pac-Man quesadilla anymore at the Kogi truck because the convert, like it's called the Lucha Libre match in my mouth, where it's like, oh, it's freaking pork versus freaking chicken versus Kobe beef. Oh, right. Oh, the tag in the 3 sauces, and they're covered in the cheese. Oh, what a fight in my mouth, and all the oil. Like, oh, this is delicious. I love this. Oh, so 29, 30-year-old me can do this. 40-year-old me, like, oh man, I haven't had a Pac-Man quesadilla in a while. Let me do this.
Hell no.
Oh, what is this feeling? Oh, this is what all those Pepto-Bismol commercials warned me about as a child. I finally understood them because I'm like, oh, who are all these people? Who are all these people who need Pepto-Bismol and Tums? So like, I remember my dad used to have to take Tums, and I was like, what? Why do you guys have these problems? And then the last my final Pac-Man quesadilla that I ever had, I was like, oh, I get it now. I feel awful. This is what old people feel like, and they can't eat freaking delicious, rich, oily food. Ew. Like, oh yeah, they always show like the dad at the carnival eating chili dogs. Like, oh.
Dude, you know what? I would never want to be caught at a carnival with acid stomach with like peeps.
You know, we get the you got a carnival. Like, imagine the porta potty you'd have to use.
Oh. Nah.
But I love taking us in horrible directions like that. That's what we do. The tangents of the show. That's part of the charm of Dre's Geek Philosophy podcast. So yeah, so Christmas Eve, I spent the entire evening, making tamales, but it was like kind of weird. They didn't look like my mom's tamales. I was making kind of Panamanian, where like your traditional Mexican tamale. For those of you who don't know, you slap a bunch of the masa on the freaking corn husk, and then you prepare the pork separately. Now, you gotta cook that pork for like 8 hours or something, some ridiculous amount of time, and then you get that stew with the red sauce and the freaking whatever, the chiles and everything. You scoop that and you slap it in there, and you kind of wrap it in it, so it's like it's a little baked. It's a present on Christmas. You open it up, and oh look, it's a little white piece of masa. You cut it open, like, oh yeah, pork, and oh, deliciousness. These were kind of like Panamanian. I guess the whole thing is just like a big
all of it
flavor.
It's all in one.
It's all in one. So it was a little different. Mm-hmm. And so my OCD was like, this is wrong. But I'm like, nope, push through, follow. We need these for Christmas Day. We have to show up with food. We have to feed Rosa's family and ourselves. So I'm like, all right. But the cool thing is, with the little pressure cooker, because the Ninja, that's basically a freaking pressure cooker. Instead of cooking the thing for like freaking 4 hours or whatever, I'm cooking it for half an hour. I freaking slap me. I follow the instructions. All right, bunch of onion. All right, put the pork in. Put in some bell peppers. All right, put in the freaking red sauce. Put in some tomato paste. I'm like, all right, I'm stirring it up with my looked like a wizard with a freaking with his little freaking cauldron.
Tamale wizard.
I'm a tamale wizard with my tamale cauldron. Mm-hmm. And I'm going through the whole process, and because you went out to go deliver presents Christmas Eve, and while I was here like making the tamales, and man, and thankfully I'd gotten tight to sleep. Mm-hmm. That's why I was able to cook without interruption, and yeah, man, it was hard, but obviously again the Ninja was like a cheat device.
When I stepped in, when I got in. Oh my god, it smelled so freaking delicious in here. It smelled the best it's ever smelled in here. Like, oh, so good.
I couldn't tell.
Oh my god,
I was like nose deaf to it because I was in it the whole time, so I'm like, I don't know if this smells good.
Whatever you were making, and I was just like, I want to eat it now.
And so like I pressure cooked it, and everything was cool. Mm-hmm. And then we cracked that sucker open, and then I was like weirdly, like, it's time to add the dry masa to it, and I go, oh my, this is weird. This is not how it's supposed to go, but I'm following the instructions, and they looked happy when they were eating the tamales at the end of their videos. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna be cool. And so I whip up like a dozen. And then we had this tamale substance in the freaking Ninja. I'm like, all right, get the freaking husks, and I'm just like slapping them in, rolling them up, like, oh, I made a tamale. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I did this. Mm-hmm. No one tell my mother. Don't tell my mom. She'll kill me. Mm-hmm. Or worse, disown me. She'll cut me off from traditional Mexican tamales, and I'll have to figure it out on my own. How to get back to that flavor. Lard. Yeah, that's the one thing I was like missing, because I'm like, where do you just buy pork fat? I'm like, I guess I'd have to cut off from all that pork, but I have to cut off the fat and then render it. I had to put it like I said, I'm a cook. I'm not a chef. That's some like chef business. That's like, I'm a cook. I'm a short order guy. You need some burgers. You need some pasta. You need some basics. I'm like, I can crank that stuff out, but being a family dad now, or the family chef now, I have to learn. I have to learn all. I'm learning all this new stuff now.
It's amazing. You did.
I'm being put in the pressure cooker.
Thanksgiving and you did.
Yeah, I cooked all of Thanksgiving and I cooked all of Christmas. So I cranked out like by the end of the night. I did like 2 batches of the tamale base, and then cranked out maybe 24, 25, whatever. And then we're like, we're freaking hungry. We ate a few. Like, all right, these are fine. I'm like. Like they're not as see. I've always told people I'm incredibly bougie when it comes to tamales. Tamale, like, because I have this like homemade standard. I'm like, okay, it has to be like this is what my brain thinks. Oh, this is a good tamale.
Right. I mean, if you get the pre-cooked tamale base, you didn't get pre-cooked. You didn't get the.
I know. I made a tamale, so like I didn't think mine was as good as my mom's. I think that's where like I think that's the disconnect. It's just the disconnect in my brain. I'm like, oh, this isn't what a tamale tastes like. You and your family enjoyed it, so that was at the end of the day, that was the real goal. Yeah, that was the goal. You guys enjoyed it. I was kind of just like, this isn't what I'm used to.
But at the same time, we're also like we can make it now any way we want.
Now we can do.
It's like with everything. If you know the rules, then you know how to break them.
Yeah. Now I can understand how to like. All right, how do I? I can find some Instant Pot. Yeah, see, Harold, you have an Instant Pot. It's like, yeah, it's a similar device. Those things freaking. Like I was like on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I cheated, and a friend of mine, no, you didn't cheat. You're using modern advantages.
Yeah.
Modern technology. We have.
I think my grandma would have been like over the moon if she had a freaking foodie ninja.
Yeah, if you had like a pressure cooker
in the kitchen all day long. Oh my god! And we all had. That was the cute part. Was that all the family had to do a part. You know, like somebody's got to slap down those freaking, wash off the husks.
Right.
Somebody else has to spoon the little meat. Somebody else has to spoon the muffins.
So like it was a little different in my house because like my mom was just like, nope, this is my freaking, this is my art, this is my freaking grand design. Even like because when I was a kid, she would make freaking hundreds because people would always be like, oh, they want a dozen, they want a dozen. Like she'd be handing out dozens.
She would have been there all day long then, right?
She no, they would literally. It was a whole weekend thing. Like she'd have to cook on Friday, and then like Saturday and Sunday was the freaking assembly line. But like I could not get involved. I was like I a little kid. When you're like a little kid, you're like I want to help. Let me help. And Mom's like, no, you're gonna mess it up. I'm like, okay. So I just watch her. She'd be like dun, 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 dun. And at the end when everything was prepared, it was like. Then because my mom, it's funny because my mom's tamales are different from like any other tamale I've ever seen.
Baja, right?
Yeah, I think it's because of the Baja, like the slice of potato and the black olive and some of the Spanish olive or whatever. Like, well, I mean, yeah, you've had them now for 3 years running. Now they're very different from any.
Like we could do it however we want now because we know, but it's only 45 minutes compared to 8 hours.
Yeah, Harold says it would take his grandma 3 days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The grandma's tamales are always like that. It's a process. It's What's up, dude?
It's okay. It's cool.
Okay, it's cool. Sorry, we gotta keep checking on Ty behind us. He's in his little playground. So yeah, that was and so our Christmas day. So yeah, so we opened the presents, everything's good, and then all of a sudden outside, all of Rosa's family was honking because we drove up to Big Bear because we found out that Rosa's brother he bought a house in Big Bear.
Lucky him, man. It was beautiful.
It was very pretty. I am not an outdoorsy person, but it was very nice, and I got to see. It's something I always joke about in the early parts of the podcast. I'm like, I had never seen snow. I was 41 years old, and then I got to see. I guess it was like more like dirty snow. I still haven't seen snow fall on my head, so I guess that's still kind of on the bucket list or I can still claim, I still haven't seen snow from the sky. I've always claimed it more like, I've avoided it. I guess it's very easy to avoid living in Los Angeles. But I joked with, I was holding Tiger. I'm like, check it out, kid. You're about to turn 1 and I'm 41 and it's our first time both seeing snow on the ground. And apparently over the weekend, I'm sure over the last 24 hours, your brother.
His whole entire lawn
is white. Everything was white, fresh powder. Yes. It's up to their knees. It's up to their knees? Yeah. See, that would terrify me. I would just be like, no, I can't deal with this. You
wouldn't know what to do.
I would just curl up in a ball inside the house and I'm like, well, I guess we're stuck in here. I hope we have enough food to last the winter. Time to hibernate. Time to roll up into a ball. But the house is super nice. It's really cool. And, we had a very a safe, socially distanced. We all were still wearing our masks. We were very responsible, especially for your grandparents. We don't get them sick. Oh, your parents, Ty's grandparents. Ty's grandparents, her parents. We didn't want to get them sick, and we showed up. I showed up with a big old pot full of tamales. I froze them all, and then we defrosted those babies and cooked them up, and everyone was happy. Well, I think your dad wanted eggs, and I don't think
He always does that.
he always wants
Tamales and eggs.
tamales and eggs and beans. He's like, where are the eggs? Where are the beans? Oh, see, Daniel, huh? I just like snow. I don't like being cold. SoCal for life. Same. For life. SoCal.
Yeah, hail was crazy today.
So today, I don't know if Daniel, you got hit with it. You live relatively nearby, where we live. Like this morning was freaking a hailstorm. I have never seen the likes of which in my lifetime.
Not that bad.
Not that bad. Because I like my wife here. She sent me a snap. First I discovered it from at work at our warehouse. It was literally you could hear it. It was hit, it came through our skylights at our warehouse. All of a sudden, what is that hail? And then the bosses are in the back receiving a shipment of a whole bunch of freaking NBA games, and then brah. See, Daniel is exactly just a bit where we were down the street though, covered, because one of my bosses lives 4 minutes. Rick lives nearby. He said his wife, they didn't get anything, but us freaking 6 blocks north, were freaking. It looked like it snowed outside. Mm-hmm. It's from the pictures my wife sent me of the courtyard where we live. We're like, oh my god, it looks like snow. There was so much freaking little balls of ice. It was intense. It's I am doomed to ice and snow. Apparently, I am. That is my fate. Apparently, no. I don't like. Daniel, I'm with you. I do not like being cold. When we left Big Bear that Christmas night, it was 20. At one point, it was 23 degrees, and I was like, no. I'm like, icy road. I'm like, ugh. I remember we felt the car move a little bit. Or nope, don't. We just got this car. Nope. I don't want to be tumbling down the mountain like freaking Homer Simpson in his RV. Nope. Did not want that at all. But it was Christmas overall was very nice. I was we had a very good family's first Christmas. Ty got to hang out. Oh, let me tell you guys what I discovered on Christmas Eve. The Christmas Eve before I started making tamales. Me and Ty were watching Disney Plus. And I threw on the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and what I discovered. So me and Ty were watching it. I had him on my lap, and we're just watching it. And usually Ty sometimes reacts to stuff, but for whatever reason, I can't explain it. But whenever Ty would see the Lego version of Yoda, not Lego Baby Yoda or Yoda or Grogu, whenever he'd see Lego Yoda, because throughout the holiday special they kept I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fun. They travel through time. It's so ridiculous.
Cute. It's so cute.
Anytime Lego Yoda was on the screen, Ty would laugh, and not just a little. He would just I tested it. I tested it yesterday. I showed him a still image of Lego Yoda, and he's just like. But there was an extended part where Yoda is talking to someone, and he was just busting. He was belly laughing. And for those of you dads, whenever your kids are they're that little and they're belly laughing, it's just the weirdest and greatest feeling in the world. It's just oh.
You know what's crazy? He was laughing at Ari from Eleanor Wonders Why.
Oh, really?
I think there's something about the ears.
Oh, is it about ears? It's got to be the ears.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to figure out, what is it about Yoda that's making him lose his mind every time he sees him?
He was giggling today the same way.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what are you? And he was watching the Eleanor Wonders Why, and it was Ari. Ari was on screen, and he was like,
He's the animal with the big ears or something?
Yeah, he's a bat.
He's a bat. Oh.
Yeah.
It's got to be an ear thing.
So cute.
It's got to be an ear thing. Every time, without fail, and we were at my brother-in-law's house, and they have the Netflix and Disney Plus. I'm like, I'll just throw on Disney Plus, put on Lego. You guys want to see something? put on the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm going to show you guys something. as soon as we get the first sighting of Yoda, Tide is like, ha 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 ha. Every time he is tickled pink. I got some great photos of him just laughing. I wish I could have had the wherewithal to get a video of him laughing, but yes. So Lego Daniel is asking. So Lego Star Wars Holiday Special isn't a Lego spin on the like. Oh, it is a sequel, or it is, or as I've seen people say, it's the salvation of the original Star Wars Christmas special because they both deal with Life Day. That is the equivalent of Christmas within the universe of Star Wars, and it is just hilarious. They're celebrating Life Day, and apparently Jedi can do awesome things on Life Day, like travel through time, and it's just comedy. The ridiculousness of it is so great. At first, I was very salty about how they did my boy Poe Dameron because as a good Mexican, I'm very proud of the fact that there is a Latino representation in Star Wars, and that's my man Oscar Isaac, like whom I have a man crush on. I hated they made him seem like a goof in this Lego Star Wars thing, and so naturally after this Lego Star Wars Holiday Special gave Ty such delight, we just kept watching. So on actually was it yesterday? I forgot. Oh no, it was day after Christmas. Me and Ty just sat and watched all the Lego Star Wars specials that they have on Disney Plus. And needless to say, I was delighted when I found out there's a whole series called the Yoda Chronicles. I'm like, yes, give it to me, give it to my son. And I wasn't as mad about Poe Dameron being a dork because Darth Vader is a giant dork throughout the entire Lego Star Wars. They just undercut him. I'm surprised people don't complain about this. I'm sure Star Wars fans are there. I can't believe they make Darth Vader such a dork. But it's just in the service of the Lego comedy. It's so hilarious. There is a scene where I guess they both Luke and Darth Vader wind up back on Tatooine. Tatooine. I can't even say it anymore. Tatooine. Thank you. She can say it better than I can. Tatooine. And who was it? Darth Vader winds up renting Luke's old land speeder, and Luke ends up renting freaking the Anakin's old pod racer. So there's a scene where they're chasing each other, or Luke goes, "Hey, that's my ride," and then Darth Vader goes, "Hey, that's my ride." And it's little things like that where an old man Star Wars fan like me, I am just delighted. I was like, that was perfect. There are so many little things that were jokes for the adults. There's one they were watching a Jedi holocron of the Clone Wars, and each of them was Obi-Wan's like, well, I hope you don't ever betray me, Anakin. Well, I hope you don't cut off my legs. Obi-Wan, and then Mace Windu, I hope I don't get my arm chopped off and thrown through a window. And I was like, dead. I am dead. I can't with this stuff. This is just the target audience of all these Lego Star Wars specials are children and Star Wars parents. That's the target audience. I was laughing at. Oh, are you putting it on so we can get a little laughy laugh? Potentially.
Yeah, I don't want to do any more of the
Baby Einstein.
Baby Einstein, yeah. It moved over to Elmo's World, and it was all computer generated stuff.
Oh, it's creepy. Oh, I hate when those creepy computer generated.
Coco Baba.
Yeah, like that other thing that we were recommended.
I'm not into that.
So I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if Yoda will show up here at some point here.
Have you seen this? Escape from the Jedi Temple.
Yes, those are the ones that Ty and I were watching because
Yeah.
the whole time Yoda's advising them through the Force. It's like, Luke, Yoda keeps sending out.
Because he's just.
I'm sure yoga. What is wrong? My brain is going haywire.
9:16. That's why.
It's 9:16. Normally I'm just blah blah blah, and then my son's like ba ba ba, and then we're having a nice conversation.
By now,
Usually he's asleep by now. Lego Batman. Oh yeah, Lego Batman's a giant dork. Oh, Lego Batman 2, the video game, is just yeah, that game is a work of art. That's why I keep saying, like, because my wife charged me, like, we need to find a video game that her and I can play together. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna play the Lego Batman games, especially.
There he is.
Oh, I don't know if the mic's picking up. Don't know if Mike picked that up, but Yoda was on the screen. And Ty was just like losing it.
Yeah.
There you go. We have video evidence.
Okay, bath time.
Oh, bath time. Oh, you're not even looking at the screen now, kid. All right, yeah. I was telling my wife we got to play through the Lego Batman 2 and Lego Batman 3. We got to play through those. Because of the whole dynamic between Batman and Robin and Superman is that's just pure comedy for me. Oh, I got to cover the baby. Got to cover the baby. Cover the baby with my head. Oh nope, I totally failed. You went way too fast. I was like, oh, he's a celebrity. We can't let the paparazzi get him. Yeah, no, that was like the other great discovery of the weekend is how much Ty and I were just enjoying the daylights out of freaking Lego Star Wars. I was it a day Saturday? He and I were just like, it was just me and him. My wife went out shopping. It was like my first official day off from work in 28 or 29 days. So, all right, me and the kid will hang out here. We'll clean up the house and we'll just sit and watch a bunch of Disney Plus all day. And yeah, it was just all those Lego Star Wars specials. We're going through the Lego All Stars, Lego freaking this thing that's on right now, the Yoda Chronicles. He and I had a ball. It was like discovering my son's delight and there was other little things that would make him laugh too. It wasn't just Lego Yoda, but that was really fun. It was cool. It was like one of those fun dad moments. And like, all right, cool. Get to bond with my boy over something silly. I thought I was gonna have to wait till like he was like a little bit older for that, but no. Apparently, 11 and a half months, almost a year old, and we got to have a little bit of silly fun. He and I over something very simple, like a little green alien with giant ears that tickles him to no end. Now, I'm sure many of you are probably waiting for me to say something about Wonder Woman 1984, but I haven't seen it yet. I've seen that a lot of nerds are losing their minds insanely over this movie. I know, Daniel, I saw you posted that positive thoughts. You and your daughters enjoyed it. And for that, I am happy that you enjoyed it. I've seen other people post varying degrees of like, oh, why do you guys not like this? And then other people like upon further review. Honestly, I think the most disturbing thing I saw was that how can you call the movie Wonder Woman 1984 and have no 80s music in it? Honestly, that seems like a huge miss. I don't know if Warner's just didn't want to pay for music licensing. I mean, come on, they have they should have a bunch of 80s music in their catalog from their Warner records. Yeah, but the amount of like, I don't know, in my opinion, because a lot of times what this show is basically my opinion about things that I notice. I think it's a lot of resistance because Wonder Woman and the trailer had a better soundtrack. I feel like this movie is representative of like the death of cinema, or at least the death of the movie theater. Like, oh, this is the first big release that like was deliberately put on a streaming platform that would have been a main release. Because Mulan was like another thing. I was like, oh, we couldn't do anything, so here, pay extra and watch it on Disney Plus. But that felt like, oh, that was like a victim of circumstance. Where I feel like a lot of my movie snob friends are really mad about this development with Warner Brothers, where they're just gonna throw everything on HBO Max and be like, fuck y'all. Like, they still released Wonder Woman 84 in theaters where you can go. I know Southern California doesn't really have any open theaters as far as I know, because of the pandemic. But there's other places in the country, and it made like $16 million from whatever theaters are open. I mean, I'm sure people were just happy to get into a theater wherever they could. Like, for one, I I want the movie theater experience to come back. I want to take my son to go see something cool like a Marvel movie in a movie theater. But yeah, I think that I don't know. That's just my opinion. If I were to venture a guess as to why people are being really super critical of this movie, as if it's supposed to be a piece of fine art that requires a level of scrutiny. Like, it's a comic book movie. I don't know why people are pulling down their pants and shitting all over it so hard when I see rational people going, oh, it would. I mean, it's not the greatest movie ever. I don't know, like, people. They're going into this movie expecting the greatest thing ever, and they're just giving it deductions every time something they don't like happens. I mean, all right, I've seen like some of the more fair criticisms I've seen have been like it's a bit long, or like all right, well, I'm like, yeah, there's a double standard, right? Exactly. It's like it's not a piece of art, so it sucks. Or it's like it's I don't know. I would like. It's weird because now I feel like all these people crapping on it is going to taint my experience of the film, especially because I guess there's something that a lot of people are very very sensitive to. Yeah. Warner Bros. Has already greenlit Part 3, so I guess all these people criticizing it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's still it's still a success in Warner Brothers' eyes, I'm sure. That Patty Jenkins is gonna get a third one, and I don't know. It's disheartening to me how people just like we live in this golden age of nerdity, and yet it's like I think it's like these nerds are the most harshly critical of everything that comes out. Where like it's like we're getting all this cool shit that's happening, and you're like people are like, well, boycott this and don't watch that and don't do this. It's like. We went a really long time without good comic movies. We went a very long time without a Star Wars. Like all of my formative years and teenage years, we went a very long time between Episode 6 and Episode 1. I mean, my feelings about Episode 1 notwithstanding, I remember there being a dearth of Star Wars content from like. When I was old enough to understand Star Wars was a thing in 1997, that there wasn't a lot going on. There were some very expensive toys. There was an occasional, I remember there was a Droids cartoon on ABC. I think it was ABC. There was those weird, Battle for Endor. We're in a golden age of nerddom and a stone age of gatekeeping. Yeah. All these gatekeepers. That's what really bothers me the most of the current nerd culture. Granted, I'm pretty sure 10 years ago I felt like I was a little gatekeepy, where I'm like, oh no, you can't enjoy. But as I've gotten older now, it's like no, we should be enjoying all these things. There's a lot of stuff. I mean. Yeah, granted, I know I've come on here and said, I really stopped liking all those WB superhero shows. But that was, I didn't I don't hate them because they're bad. I just hate them because I don't feel like they're for me anymore. I don't like what's happening, so I'm not going to tell the people to stop watching. This shouldn't exist anymore. It's like, yeah, Flash can go on. It just, I loved the first 2 seasons of The Flash, and then everything from season 3 on, it was just like, you lost me. Age of Hate. Oh, yeah. Stone Age of Hate. There's a lot of hate out there because I think in this movie there's a lot of because something else a criticism I kept seeing about Wonder Woman 84. There's a lot of inclusion. She went out of her way to save a whole bunch of brown kids. I'm like, so if it was white kids, it would have been fine. What sounds worse? Saving kids or criticizing the saving of children because they are a color that you didn't care about? It just I don't know what to make with a lot of nerds nowadays. I mean, if some people didn't like it because it was boring, that's fine. But I feel like there's a lot of people reaching for hate that just doesn't exist. And it's like, all right, I'm not telling people to love everything. I'm just saying, don't sit there and like look for reasons to hate it. You know what? This is too feminist. I can't take this feminist agenda bullshit. It's like, you know what? Then it's not for you. Move on to another piece of media. Go pop in an old episode of He-Man and go jerk off to that. Look at all that masculinity. See all that sweaty meat hitting sweaty meat. You can go enjoy that. If feminism hurts your soul, guess what? There's a whole catalog of things that are not feminist that still exist and on your favorite streaming service. It hasn't gone away. It's still there. Pretty sure you can get it on DVD or Blu-ray. If you desperately, I'm sure Zack Snyder's 300 is available everywhere. You know, if you don't want to watch Wonder Woman on HBO Max, go watch 300. There's plenty of meaty, slapping meat there. You wanna see some meat slapping men? There you go. Go watch 300 for a while. Go see those big masculine men. If feminism bothers you so hard, then there's plenty of content for you. So this past week I've been listening to way too much WTF with Mark Maron, and I don't know if I talked about it last week where it was like Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. I'm sure I talked about it last week's episode, but today I was listening to it was Randall Park, the guy from Fresh Off the Boat, I'll Always Be My Maybe. What do you call it? The interview, like I guess he was talking about that was like the movie that legitimized him in his parents' eyes. Ironically, the one where they're making fun of the Korean dictator. And it was funny because he was talking. Him and Maron are talking a lot about this kind of this inclusion thing, where like Maron's like, I don't like it when they put a whole bunch of people that aren't normally together. It's like, they do that. It looks like a Benetton ad. And then I love that Randall Park's like, you grew up in LA. If you grew up in LA, that's what your life was. Like, people of different cultures in Los Angeles, they do grow up together. My clique of friends in high school, it's like we had a Chinese dude, a Japanese dude, a Thai dude. It's like, no, it's like it is a bunch of, I just named a bunch of Asians, but I was their Hispanic dude. Hung out with them. We hung out with the half white, half Chinese dude occasionally. I think we'd see all these different people from different races all hung out together. And it was just fun. I kind of enjoyed like Maron getting a little bit checked on. Like, no, it's like that stuff happening on TV is not because we're not forcing it. These are real situations that happen out there in the world where the different cultures do actually hang out and coexist. It isn't some manufactured thing like, we got to get a yellow person in here. And that Randall Park was talking about how, like, in the early part of his career, he was just the yellow guy in the background of a TV show. Like, we need an Asian guy. Yeah. So you're right. Perfectly said, Daniel Wog. Kogi tacos, proof that we're better together. Asian culture and Hispanic culture merge together, make amazing tacos. With Asian ingredients. Cooked by a bunch of like little Asian ladies, run by an Asian dude who owns the trucks. I was just tripping out on that, and I feel like, I don't know, we're getting there. And another example of like where I think we've got to advance, where executive producer Sam Zia shared something hilarious yesterday. I feel like I should probably reshare it on the podcast page, where you had 3 of the younger members of Congress turning rap lyrics into... they were substituting the word bitch in rap lyrics with Mitch. I guess in reference to Mitch McConnell. So, Mitch better have my money. Yo, Mitch, get out the way. Mitch, don't kill my vibe. Mitch, don't kill my vibe. You had like AOC and one of the other members of the squad and some other dude, all these young members of Congress dropping ridiculous rap references to make fun of Mitch McConnell. And I was like, we're getting there. We're probably 20 years away from our generation grabbing the reins of power, but progress has been made. We're people who think like us. Those of us in our late 30s, early 40s are slowly infiltrating the workings of government, where there's people who are like-minded us, not all these 60 to 70-year-old friggin' profiteers taking everybody's money and fucking with us. We're getting the young people in there, and hopefully they don't get too corrupted by the system. But it just gave me a little bit something as simple as that. As AOC dropping, Mitch don't kill my vibe, Mitch don't kill my... I was just like, that gave me a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, there might be hope in there somewhere for the future. Maybe. I mean, granted, the rock and roll generation should be in there right now, but they literally found, like, majority, I guess majority of the people in there right now, they're the most anti-rock and roll people that you could find. But maybe, I think our generation might be wily enough. Well, honestly, I think most of that rock and roll generation wants nothing to do with the government. So I think that's why we're in the situation that we're in. The most rebellious of the 70s, the 60s and 70s were just avoided everything that had to do with the government. Where, like, our generation's like, you know what, fuck y'all, we got to get in this. We got to do something about this because the world's getting fucked, and we need to unfuck it in some way, shape, or form. But that post by our former executive producer Sam Zia, it gave me hope, a little bit of hope. Mitch better have my money. Move, Mitch, get out the way. I was done when I saw that. I was done. Hopefully we, just like Obama gave us a little bit of hope. We had a cool president for a little while. We might have some more hope soon. I cross my fingers. Who knew? Rebels don't make good leaders. No. Yeah, I guess so. The more I sat and thought about that, I was like, yeah, all these rebels. Now we need we need more intelligence and less shitty people. All the non-rebels, all the conformists that the rebels were rebelling against took all the power, and the rebels were like, well, we don't have any credit, and we can't get in there, and we're like, whatever, I'm seeing a bit high. I can't put it all together. I study political science, and I didn't want. Honestly, I studied poli-sci. I didn't want to have anything to do with it once I learned how the sausage was made. But maybe if we can change how the sausage is made, it'll make things better. I hate to skew it so political here at the end, but you know what? A lot of people who are listening to the audio version don't get this far anyway, so it's fine. This is for my live viewers. It's for those of you who for our good buddies like Daniel Wong and Jai Polidor and Rolando, if he's still in here, and if Harold and Warren. I don't know what the actual live viewer count is right now. I know whatever number it gives me, I know that's a work of fiction. I know there could be more, there could be less. I don't know, but I am thankful for all of you who tune in. It's funny, I was talking to my wife before the episode. I'm like, oh wait, this is usually the year in review episode. Which, ironically, I think that the 2018 year review episode is our best episode as far as SoundCloud goes. I was like, I had nothing prepared because we had an incredibly busy day today at work. And I was like, I have nothing. We're going to talk about Christmas. Oh, see, Harold's still there. We're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about nonsense. We're going to talk about Lego Star Wars and Tiger. Like, it's just, it's like, what, a couple years ago, there was no baby. There was no wedding. So life changes. This show evolves as I evolve. But you know what? Today I have been, once it slows down at work, I have great hope that I will bring you guys some video game content. That is my hope. I'm going to bring you guys some more streaming content. That's my goal. And my goal is by February or March, I'm going to just start giving away video games. I'm figuring out a system to reward those of you who watch us on a regular basis and who contribute, who help us. I'm going to start to reward you guys, and this might entice a bunch of shitheads to come on board. But you know what? I'm going to try to make sure we reward our faithful with video games, video game content, and I'm making a little extra money here, so I'm gonna try to do some. We're gonna try to do some giveaways because I got a bunch of cool shit at work that I can buy and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna. The intention will be like, oh, I'm gonna buy some games. Life happens, like in Pixar Soul. I didn't watch that one either because I didn't want to sit here and cry with just me and the baby by ourselves. What we have been watching is What We Do in the Shadows. Go watch that. If you haven't watched that on FX or... I know the podcast is its own reward, Daniel. I know. I appreciate that. But I have to light a spark into a flame and try to create something... I don't know if I do want this to be bigger. I don't want to get too big, but I have to spark something. Because as we're reaching the 4-year anniversary of the show. Literally in a couple of weeks. It'll be 4 years that I have been firing up this camera and opening this computer and talking to you guys. I was gonna say perform, but I haven't been performing. I'm just talking to you guys. There's a genuineness in this show. I am genuinely me, and you guys get the genuine Dre like every week, for better or for worse. Some weeks, I go back and see some of those early episodes. Yikes! Super depressed Dre is I don't know. I'm in a weird or a different spot mentally, but. We're gonna try to do something to try to turn the spark into a flame and spell out the name. It's the. I was listening to Hamilton all day at work. I have to stop. As always, make sure you follow. Go follow us. I didn't even. I was supposed to bring it up. The wife and I we figured out a 2-player version of Cards Against Humanity. And it devolved into like we were just playing war with the cards, and then the results are on my Instagram right now, or I think they're on here on Facebook. If you go to the podcast page, there's a story where you see these were all legitimately randomly generated Cards Against Humanity responses. We did not; these were not friggin' curated. We literally by the time we finished playing our 2-player version of Cards Against Humanity, we were just like, all right, cool. We're just gonna turn over the black card and the white card. And see what happens. And you go to our Instagram story or our Facebook story for the podcast page, and you will see the comment. I took photos of some of the best ones that came out of that, and it's just appropriate, to say the least. I got messages from our good buddies D-Loke or our good buddy Chris Ryder, our longtime friend Carly Kia. They were messaging me back like, oh wow, these are really bad and really funny and very accurate. And they're like, yeah, and they were all randomly generated. Not faked at all. Sorry, I got something stuck in my teeth. Not faked. The wife and I are probably, after the baby goes to bed, we're probably gonna mess around with Cards Against Humanity again. That's what I bought my wife for Christmas. We would always talk about it whenever we'd see it at Target for the last year and a half. Like, oh, I want Cards Against Humanity. I want Cards Against Humanity. I'm like, oh, I got a few cards, but I don't have the base set. I bought her the base set. And here's the craziest shit. Let me tell y'all. I mean, I should have ended by now, but let me tell y'all some crazy shit. Like, they update these decks. So I guess we got the newest deck. They took out a bunch of... I went on their website. They took out a bunch of the outdated jokes. There is an AOC card. There is a pandemic. There's a COVID-19 card in Cards Against Humanity now. There's a where you get the shit on Mitch McConnell card. There's a lot of germane references in Cards Against Humanity, right? Like, I guess the newest, like, if you have an old set, I was like, on the website they were joking, like, just go buy the new set, just replace your old set with the new one. And you know, I should have pulled out the cards. I might just pull out the cards for next week and show you guys how, like, oh, there's a COVID-19 card. Like, we were horrified and amazed when, like, it just came up. I was like, because my wife and I were just playing, and I was like, there's an AOC card. Like, what? What? And then I go on the website. Yeah, if you have version 2.2, you have the most up-to-date jokes. So it's an FYI if you're a person who enjoys being a terrible person. Oh, wife and I were being terrible human beings. It was great. we were making each other laugh, but we were trying to figure out, is there a way? Yeah, exactly, Harold. They have to keep up with current events. I mean, they can't sit around with all their writers and doing nothing. Yeah, I got her newest one. Right over here, I guess it's a 2.2. It's going to be backwards on Facebook. Sorry, it's 2.2, and then we got the only at Target Nerd Bundle. We haven't cracked open this one yet. This is I bought this from this was my Christmas gift to myself, and this is the Christmas gift to my wife. This and the '90s pack. The '90s pack was pretty great, TBH, especially for a '90s dork like me. The Cards Against Humanity is not a sponsor of this podcast, but they're freaking hilarious, and you guys should support them anyway. I have to go find all my my holiday bullshit cards. I have to because I have a card with my name on it because I participated in one of their charity things, and so they sent me. I have a white card with my name on it, and I also have a black card with my name on it, for better or worse. So. I'm sure that's going to lead to some very fun games, Cards Against Humanity at some point. But yeah, wife and I were trying to figure out how can we play Cards Against Humanity over Zoom. It's a near impossibility, short of like having everyone very organized, having their own sets of cards, and it's like, but how do you got to maintain the anonymity? I was just telling her it's probably just easier if we just play Jackbox and play Quiplash, and you can be terrible playing Quiplash. That's it as far as that goes. So, of course, originally, this was 5 minutes ago, I was starting into the plugs, and then I talked about Instagram, and then this led into the Cards Against Humanity. There's a Zoom-ish version. Oh, boy. I might have to investigate that. Because the wife and I, we want to play with other people. It's fun. We're playing with... You'll get me later, Daniel? Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure there's some, like, off-brand freaking... tokens against zoology. I'm sure there's all these fake ones out there who piggyback onto the popularity of this crazy child company. But yes, go to our Instagram and check out all the combinations I put up in our story. Go to Twitter. So I haven't been tweeting as hard as I was in recent weeks. I've been on Instagram a little bit. I have to like the buckets of my social media. I can't fill them all at the same time. It's very hard. It's like if I pour all my energy into YouTube, or I pour my energy into Instagram, or pour all my energy into Twitter. There's only so much time in the day when you're a dad, where I can I gotta pour everything into Twitter. I haven't touched Twitter in days. I've gone on to just like things here and there, but I haven't really interacted on Twitter. But Instagram, I've been super aggressive on that right now. There's multiple posts today. There's a funny Wii U one today. Apparently people really enjoyed that one. Check us out. All of our social medias. At Dre GP Podcast. On Instagram. On Twitter. Here on, if you're not watching this on Facebook, if you're listening to the audio version, if you've gotten this far, if you're watching the YouTube version and you've gotten this far, Facebook.com/Dre GP Podcast. And then, of course, YouTube, search for Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. If we can get to 100 subscribers, I think it was 100 subscribers. If we get to 100 subscribers, I can make a custom URL where it's youtube.com/Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. But because we're only like at 27 subscribers, we're still just YouTube / some random number generated blah, blah, blah. I think we need 100 subscribers to get a custom URL. But that's hopefully we can get there at some point. That's why I want to do the giveaways. I'm trying to grow things. I might invest in a Squarespace site just to have everything on one place, because I think it's just because Mark Maron keeps doing the Squarespace ads. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do Squarespace so I can have everything on one site like he does. And DreGPPod.com or something like that. But again, like, it's that time of year you want to set some goals, and like now I'm like I want to set some more some loftier goals for the podcast. Nothing too crazy, but I want to put more time. And now that Ty's getting a little bit bigger, we're freeing up a little time. Like, yeah, except we've been able to watch What We Do in the Shadows. We've been able to watch an episode of What We Do in the Shadows almost every night for the past week. It's exciting. We can start watching TV again. I can, after we finish What We Do, we can try to catch up on The Boys. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing with all this free time. We find 40 minutes in between cleaning and keeping the house clean. I gotta wash the dishes from dinner right now after this. But as always, yeah. And of course, the most direct way you can support the podcast is Patreon. If you want to directly support the show, like Daniel Wan does, like our friend Ryan Tanaka, who probably was very busy at work today and couldn't join us, or like Art Solorio. The most direct way, if you want to directly financially support the show, it's patreon.com/Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. You go there, you can directly support us financially, and that goes directly into paying for all of our hosting costs on SoundCloud. And then as that money builds up, I can upgrade. I can buy some new cables or a new stand or some new equipment over time. If you want to do directly, of course, indirectly, share, like, follow the show, share it with your friends on whatever medium you have on social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram. Share the show. And that's a way you can help without financially spending any money, but giving us a little bit of your time and your assistance. I really appreciate you guys. When we talk to you next, it'll be 2021. I was joking with a coworker today, like, oh, everyone keeps acting like January 1st is going to be some sort of server refresh and everything's going to be okay. It's like, nah. Hopefully things will get better, but yeah, January 1st, 2021 is not going to be a server refresh for our MMO here. Where it's like, all right, we hit the reset. No more pandemic. Everything's fine. No, 2021 has sucked ass. 2020 has sucked ass, and who knows what 2021 has in store for us. Everyone's apologizing 2016 right now. Maybe we'll all be apologizing to 2021, 2020 after 2021. Who knows? Happy New Year, Daniel, and Happy New Year to all of you. If I don't see you guys before then, have yourselves a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Or maybe I'll be on with video game streaming this week. I don't know. Today was super busy at work, but I'm expecting it to slow down. So there might be some game streaming from work. Maybe. I don't know. I can't make any promises, but I know for 2021, more game streaming, more game content, more content from us in general, hopefully. See you guys next time. Have a good night.